And the issue now echoing in Parliament as well, as Jairam Ramesh of the Congress has raised this serious issue of cash being found at the Delhi High Court judge's residence, demanding a discussion on the same in the Rajya Sabha. Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar, who was in the House, in fact chairing the Rajya Sabha at the time, assured that he will talk to the leader of the House and ensure structured discussion on the same. The leader of the House in the Rajya Sabha is JP Nadda. So we'll have to see essentially if there will be a discussion on this issue. Let's play out for you what transpired in the Rajya Sabha.
This morning we have read about a shocking case of huge amounts of cash unearthed at the residence of a judge of the Delhi High Court. Earlier, 50 members of parliament have submitted a notice to you regarding certain remarks that were made by a judge of the Allahabad High Court. You yourself have repeatedly called into question the urgency for judicial accountability. You have in fact directed the leader of the House on this issue. So I request that you please make some observations on this and give necessary directions to the government to come up with a proposal for increasing judicial accountability.
Okay, let's bring in Piyush Mishra for more details on this. Piyush, Jairam Ramesh, Congress MP, demanding a debate on this issue in the House. Will the government also be on the same page, on the same note on this, that Parliament needs to take note of what's happened?
Well, it seems like the Parliament might take note of this because Jagdeep Dhankar, Rajya Sabha chairperson, has said that he will have a structured discussion with both leader of House, JP Nadda, and the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge. So we can expect a discussion on this to take place. But yes, this entire matter has now rocked up the Parliament, where in Rajya Sabha, senior leader of the Congress party and the Congress MP Jairam Ramesh has raised this issue and has requested the chair to make some observations on increasing the judicial accountability. He has also requested the chair to direct the government and also issues some directions to the government so that there are some provisions on increasing the judicial accountability. Jairam Ramesh had also wanted to say that earlier around 50 MPs had signed an impeachment notice against an Allahabad High Court judge for his remarks, but no action so far has been taken. On which Jagdeep Dhankar is of the view that yes, he will have discussion from both the sides, and after that a discussion could take place. So we can expect after that discussion on this to take place. But yes, this entire matter has now been echoed in the Parliament.
Okay, we'll have to see really if this comes up in Parliament. But the BJP too, Piyush, has been extremely critical, at least on social media, in the kind of statements that they've put out. They have been critical of the action taken by the Collegium, because this also opens up that larger debate, which the government also has been talking about the judiciary, governing the judiciary.
Well, certainly, sources within the top government have told us, Akshita, that the leaders of the government are, mulling on this. They are in fact, they have in fact taken note of this entire incident, and very soon we can expect some sort of steps also being taken by the government. But yes, this entire thing has now been raised by not only Congress party but various political parties, from Shiv Sena, from Samajwadi Party. We are seeing as to how the opposition seems to be cornering government with this entire matter. We'll have to wait and watch how the law minister of the country, Arjun Megwal, is going to speak on this entire controversy.
Piyush, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Let's bring in also Srishti Ojha, who tracks the courts for us. Srishti, there are a lot of questions right now being asked about why really we have only seen a transfer, especially keeping in mind the kind of serious allegations right now against the judge. Nothing proven, of course. We don't know the source of this cash, but even with the question of corruption, is a mere transfer enough?
Well, Akshita, as you rightly pointed out, what we're talking about right now are just allegations that have been made, considering we're seeing reports of cash having been recovered, and then, a transfer that the sitting Delhi High Court judge may now face. Now, when we talk about judges, the first decision in these cases, when we talk about these cases, it has to be taken by the Chief Justice of the concerned High Court, and then eventually the Chief Justice of India and the Collegium. In this case, from our sources, what we have learned is when some adverse reports were received by the CJI and the Collegium, they held an urgent meeting on Thursday and decided that the said judge should be transferred to a different High Court, which we hear is the Allahabad High Court. Again, right, like you said, questions are being raised if transfer is enough, but we have to remember that there's a certain procedure which is followed in cases of judges of constitutional courts. We're talking about a sitting High Court judge here. There are certain protections which are also to be given to them to ensure that they can sit impartially, decide cases impartially without the fear of frivolous or incorrect cases being slammed against them by people whose cases they decide. So in this particular case, the CJI has taken cognizance of this issue. How the Collegium decides to move further is something that we'll have to see. They will have the option of also initiating an in-house inquiry. Usually what happens in these cases is that the concerned judge is asked to respond. The CJI asks the judge for a response and considering the allegations that are made. Once the response comes in, the CJI and the Collegium, they then take a call whether they're satisfied by the response, whether or not a further inquiry in the case is needed. So it will be important to see if the top court, the Collegium and the CJI in this case, they find that this was a fit case to, order any further in-house inquiry, and if they also obviously have an option once a panel is created to
so there's
also
a process
then eventually seek
that will be followed, and this is just the first step of that process, which is to go ahead and transfer him immediately. Let's play out, and thanks Srishti for joining us with those details. Let's play out for you how this issue was raised in the Rajya Sabha by the Congress demanding a discussion.
This morning we have read about a shocking case of huge amounts of cash unearthed at the residence of a judge of the Delhi High Court. Earlier, 50 members of parliament have submitted a notice to you regarding certain remarks that were made by a judge of the Allahabad High Court. You yourself have repeatedly called into question the urgency for judicial accountability. You have in fact directed the leader of the House on this issue. So I request that you please make some observations on this and give necessary directions to the government to come up with a proposal for increasing judicial accountability.